Hey everyone, and welcome to your personalized deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at emotional intelligence.
Uh-huh.
I know it's something you're interested in
Yeah.
based on the Power Within podcast episode you sent over.
Right.
I have to say,
Yeah.
the way they describe emotional intelligence as like a superpower
Oh, yeah.
really piqued my interest.
It's a really cool way to think about it.
Yeah.
It really is like a superpower that you can develop,
For sure.
and it can really transform your life.
You know, I've always thought of emotional intelligence as like
Yeah.
just being aware of my own feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But this whole superpower idea
Right.
suggests it's like way more than that.
Definitely.
So help me out here.
Yeah.
What exactly is emotional intelligence?
So it's definitely more than just being in touch with your own feelings.
Okay.
It's about understanding and managing your emotions effectively,
Uh-huh.
but it's also about being attuned to the emotions of others
Okay.
and like navigating those interpersonal dynamics.
So it's not just about me, myself, and I.
Exactly.
It's about understanding how my emotions
Yes.
interact with everyone else's.
It's about recognizing that we're all emotional beings.
Yeah.
And our emotions are constantly influencing how we interact and make decisions.
Okay.
It's like we're all sending out these emotional signals all the time.
Interesting.
And emotional intelligence is the ability to broadcast your signals clearly,
Mm-hmm.
but also to tune into the signals of others.
Oh, I see.
So you're both transmitting and receiving.
Okay. Now I'm starting to see the superpower potential here.
Yeah.
But I imagine breaking down such a complex skill can feel kind of overwhelming.
It can be a lot.
Where do we even start?
Well, Daniel Goleman,
Okay.
he has this framework of 5 key components.
Right.
It's a great place to start.
5 components.
Yes.
Yeah.
Self-awareness,
Okay.
self-regulation,
Got it.
motivation,
Mm-hmm.
empathy,
Okay.
and social skills.
Wow. Okay.
That's the breakdown.
Let's take these one by one.
Yeah.
Starting with self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
What does that actually look like in the real world?
Okay, so
Beyond just knowing what you're feeling.
imagine you're in a tense meeting
Okay.
and someone makes a comment that rubs you the wrong way.
Yeah, I've been there.
You feel that anger rising, right?
Oh, yeah.
But because you're self-aware,
Uh-huh.
you recognize it before it explodes.
Okay.
That awareness gives you the space to pause.
So you don't just react.
Exactly. You can take a breath
Okay.
and choose a more measured response
That's interesting.
instead of just reacting impulsively.
Yeah, it's almost like self-awareness gives you that
It does.
split-second advantage
Or-
to hit the pause button on your emotions.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It allows you to observe your emotions rather than being completely swept away by them.
I like that.
So that's self-awareness.
Okay.
Now, self-regulation,
Uh-huh.
that takes that awareness a step further.
Okay.
It's about actively managing those emotions.
All right.
Especially under pressure.
So like when things get tough?
Exactly. Like, let's say you receive some tough feedback on a project.
Oof, yeah.
Instead of getting defensive
Right.
or shutting down,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to regulate your initial emotional reaction.
Okay.
You can process the feedback objectively
Uh-huh.
and respond in a way that's constructive.
And so self-regulation is like having
Yeah.
an internal thermostat for your emotions.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're adjusting the temperature
Yeah.
so you don't get too hot or too cold,
Right.
even when things get intense.
I can already see how this would be helpful
Yeah.
in like a negotiation
Oh, for sure.
or when dealing with a difficult client.
Absolutely. It can make a huge difference
Yeah.
in your effectiveness,
Hmm.
both personally and professionally.
Now, the third component, motivation,
Yeah.
might seem a little less obvious
That's an interesting one.
in terms of how it connects to emotional intelligence.
Right.
I usually associate motivation with like
Hmm.
willpower and
Mhm.
setting goals.
Yeah.
How does that fit into this whole emotional landscape?
It's all about the emotions that fuel that drive.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just about setting a goal.
Uh-huh.
It's about tapping into the emotions that fuel that drive.
So give me an example.
Like the excitement of tackling a new challenge,
Uh-huh.
the passion for your work, or even channeling frustration into productive energy.
Oh, interesting.
All these emotions can be harnessed to propel you forward.
So it's about understanding how your emotions can actually work for you,
Yes,
not against you.
exactly.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
It's a powerful shift.
It's almost like emotional intelligence helps you become the director of your own emotional energy,
I like that.
channeling it in the right direction.
You're getting it.
Now, the next component, empathy,
Yeah,
probably feels more intuitively connected
definitely.
to emotional intelligence.
It's a core element.
Yeah, empathy seems pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about being able to understand,
Yes.
what another person is feeling, right?
That's the heart of it.
Like being able to walk in their shoes,
Exactly.
even if you haven't had the same experiences.
It's about accurately perceiving and understanding the emotional states of others.
Okay.
It's more than just recognizing that someone is upset.
Right.
It's about connecting with their emotional experience on a deeper level.
So how do you actually do that?
Well, the Power Within podcast gave a great example.
Right.
Imagine a friend is going through a rough time.
Okay.
Empathy is about truly listening to their struggles
Uh-huh.
and validating their feelings without judgment.
Okay.
It's not about offering quick solutions
Right.
or dismissing their pain.
That's a really important point.
It is.
It's so easy to just jump into problem-solving mode
It is.
instead of just creating space for someone to feel heard and understood.
Yeah, just being there for them.
Makes me realize how much I could improve in that area.
We can all benefit from strengthening our empathy muscles.
Totally.
It's a skill that requires ongoing practice and attention. And, it's not just about being a good friend or colleague.
Right.
Empathy is also crucial in leadership,
Uh-huh.
negotiation,
Okay.
and any situation where understanding another person's perspective is essential.
That makes sense.
So empathy is really powerful.
Okay, so we've covered self-awareness,
Yes.
self-regulation, motivation, and empathy.
They're in a role.
What about that final component?
Okay.
Social skills.
Social skills are key.
It seems like that could encompass a whole universe
It really does.
of behaviors and interactions.
It's really about the culmination of all the other components we've talked about.
Okay.
When you have a solid foundation of self-awareness,
Right.
self-regulation, motivation, and empathy,
Okay.
it naturally leads to better social skills.
So it's like putting all those inner skills
It is.
into action in the real world.
Exactly. It's about communicating effectively, building strong relationships,
Okay.
resolving conflicts constructively, and influencing others in a positive way.
So it's about being able to navigate those complex social dynamics
Yes.
with grace and intention.
Well said.
I can already see how all of these components work together
They do.
to create this powerful emotional intelligence toolkit.
It's a powerful combination.
But I think we need to shift gears a bit
Okay.
and talk about why this all matters.
It's a big question.
I mean, how does emotional intelligence actually impact our day-to-day lives?
Yeah, why should we care about all of this?
Exactly.
That's what we'll delve into next.
Sounds good.
Do too.
All right, so we've established that emotional intelligence is like this hidden superpower,
It really is.
this secret weapon
Yeah,
for navigating the complexities of life.
absolutely.
But how does it actually play out in the real world?
Hmm.
Give me some concrete examples.
Okay, let's start with personal relationships.
Okay.
Think about the people you're closest to,
Okay.
your partner, your family, your friends. Emotional intelligence is the foundation for healthy, fulfilling connections.
Makes sense.
It helps you communicate more effectively,
Right.
resolve conflicts constructively, and build deeper bonds of trust and intimacy.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, relationships are all about emotions, right?
They are.
But I think we've all experienced those moments
Yeah.
where miscommunication
Right.
or clashing emotions create friction and tension.
Absolutely. And that's where emotional intelligence comes in.
Okay.
Imagine you and your partner are having a disagreement.
Okay. Been there.
Instead of getting swept up in anger
Yeah.
or defensiveness,
Uh-huh.
you're able to tap into your self-awareness.
Right.
You recognize your own emotional triggers
Oh, okay.
and understand why you're reacting the way you are.
Interesting.
And because you have empathy for your partner,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to see their perspective even if you don't agree with it.
So instead of it turning into a shouting match,
Exactly.
you're able to have a more constructive conversation.
Right. Even if it's about a difficult topic.
It's about staying calm and connected.
It's like emotional intelligence gives you those communication superpowers to navigate those tricky relationship moments.
Well said.
And those skills are just as valuable
Oh, yeah.
in the professional world.
Absolutely.
The Power Within episode argues that emotional intelligence is becoming increasingly crucial
It is.
for success in the workplace.
Especially as we shift towards more collaborative and team-based work environments.
So it's not just about IQ anymore.
It's not enough to just be smart.
You also have to be emotionally intelligent.
You need both.
I can definitely see how that would be important in leadership roles.
It's essential for good leadership.
Okay.
Leaders with high emotional intelligence
Mm-hmm.
are able to inspire and motivate their teams,
Right.
foster a positive work culture,
Okay.
and build strong relationships based on trust and respect.
That makes sense.
Think of a leader who can sense when their team is feeling stressed.
Or overwhelmed
Yeah,
and responds with support and understanding.
that's huge.
It makes a big difference.
That kind of empathy creates a more engaged and productive work environment.
Absolutely.
That's a great point. I've definitely had bosses who were brilliant,
Uh-huh.
but completely lacked emotional intelligence.
No.
And it created a lot of tension and negativity
It's a recipe for disaster.
in the workplace.
Yeah.
It was like they were speaking a different language.
I know what you mean.
And it made it really hard to connect and collaborate effectively.
It really does.
Yeah.
It highlights how emotional intelligence can impact not just individual performance,
Right.
but also the overall success of a team or organization.
Absolutely. The Power Within episode also emphasized the importance of emotional intelligence
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
for decision-making,
Interesting.
which might seem a little counterintuitive at first.
It can be surprising.
Yeah, when I think about decision-making,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to focus on logic
Right.
and rationality.
Yeah, but we're not robots, are we?
True.
Emotions are always present, even when we try to push them aside.
Right.
Emotional intelligence allows you to recognize how your feelings might be influencing your choices,
Oh,
both consciously and unconsciously.
so give me an example.
Okay, let's say you're faced with a risky investment opportunity.
Okay.
Excitement and the potential for big rewards might be driving your decision,
Hmm.
but fear and uncertainty could also be lurking beneath the surface.
Right.
Emotional intelligence helps you acknowledge those emotions
Mm-hmm.
and factor them into your assessment,
Okay.
leading to a more balanced and informed decision.
So it's not about ignoring your emotions. It's about understanding how they might be shaping your perspective
Exactly.
and using that awareness to make smarter choices.
That's the key.
It's like having that emotional radar
Yes.
to detect those subtle biases that might be clouding your judgment.
Well said.
And that ability to make clear-headed decisions,
Right.
even under pressure, is essential in all areas of life.
It is.
From your career to your personal finances to your relationships.
It touches everything.
The Power Within episode also touched on a topic that's really important to me.
Okay, what's that?
The connection between emotional intelligence and mental well-being.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
I'm eager to hear more about that.
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
When you have the skills to identify,
Uh-huh.
understand, and manage your emotions effectively,
Mm-hmm.
you're less likely to get overwhelmed by stress,
Right.
anxiety, or negativity.
That makes sense.
Emotional intelligence gives you the tools to process difficult emotions in a healthy way.
So instead of those negative emotions bottling up
Exactly.
and festering inside,
Yeah.
you're able to express them constructively
Mm-hmm.
or channel them into positive action.
That's the goal.
And that emotional resilience allows you to bounce back from setbacks more easily
It does.
and navigate challenges with greater strength and flexibility.
For sure, the Power Within podcast emphasized the power of reframing challenges
Oh, okay.
as opportunities for growth,
I like that.
rather than letting them derail you completely.
It's about shifting your mindset to see obstacles as stepping stones
Yes,
rather than roadblocks.
exactly. That kind of resilience is essential in today's world,
For sure.
where we're constantly facing change and uncertainty.
Couldn't agree more. It's about embracing the ups and downs of life
It is.
with greater self-awareness
Mm-hmm.
and emotional agility.
Well said.
This is all incredibly insightful.
I'm glad you're finding it helpful.
It's clear that emotional intelligence is this powerful force
It is.
that can impact every aspect of our lives,
It really does.
from our relationships to our careers to our mental well-being.
Absolutely.
But I have to admit,
Yeah.
I'm also feeling a little overwhelmed.
It's a lot to take in.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
How do we actually develop this emotional intelligence superpower?
Right.
Where do we even begin?
That's where the rubber meets the road.
Right.
The great news is that the Power Within episode doesn't just leave us with these big ideas.
Okay.
It offers a ton of practical strategies
Okay.
for boosting our emotional intelligence.
All right,
And
sure.
that's exactly what we'll explore next.
All right.
Are you ready to dive into the actionable stuff?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I am so ready to put all this amazing knowledge into action.
Me too.
So tell me,
Yeah.
what are some of the most effective strategies
All right.
for boosting emotional intelligence?
Okay.
What really resonated with you
Yeah.
from the Power Within episode?
There were so many great takeaways, but one that really stood out to me was keeping an emotional journal.
Oh,
It might sound basic,
okay.
but it's incredibly powerful for developing self-awareness.
I've tried journaling before,
Yeah,
but I never thought about specifically focusing on my emotions.
right.
How would that work exactly?
It's about taking a few minutes each day
Okay.
to reflect on your emotional landscape. You can jot down what you're feeling,
Okay.
any situations that triggered strong emotions,
Right.
and even try to identify any patterns you notice over time.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like becoming a detective of
Okay.
your own inner world.
I love that analogy.
It's a good one.
It's like shining a light
It is.
on those often hidden emotions
Yeah.
and bringing them to the surface.
Exactly. Making the unconscious conscious.
Do you have any tips
I do.
for making emotional journaling more effective?
One thing that helped me was getting specific.
Okay.
Instead of just writing, I felt stressed today, trying to pinpoint what triggered that stress.
Okay.
Was it a deadline at work?
Mm-hmm.
A disagreement with a loved one?
Right.
By digging deeper,
Okay.
you can start to understand your emotional triggers and develop strategies for managing them more effectively.
That's a great point.
It's a powerful practice.
It's about moving beyond
It is.
just labeling the emotion
right.
to understand it as root cause.
Exactly. You get to the heart of it.
What other strategies?
So another one that intrigued me was the idea of using affirmations,
Okay.
but with a twist.
What twist?
They suggested saying your affirmations out loud,
Out loud.
ideally while looking at yourself in the mirror.
Wow. I never thought about using affirmations in the mirror.
It's powerful.
That's fascinating. How does that actually work?
It's about taking those positive statements
Okay.
and infusing them with more intention and energy when
Okay.
you say them out loud.
Right.
Especially while making eye contact with yourself in the mirror, it reinforces the message on a deeper level.
Oh, I see.
It's almost like you're having a conversation with your subconscious mind.
That's so cool.
It's pretty wild.
What kind of affirmations would be helpful for boosting emotional intelligence?
It really depends on what areas you want to focus on if you're
okay.
working on resilience.
Right.
An affirmation could be something like, I am strong and capable of overcoming challenges. Or if you're trying to cultivate more empathy, you could affirm, I am open to understanding the perspectives of others.
So it's about choosing affirmations that resonate
Yes.
with your specific goals.
Exactly.
And repeating them consistently to create those positive shifts
right.
in your mindset and behavior.
It's about rewiring those neural pathways
So powerful.
to create more positive and empowering self-talk.
Now, remember we talked about how crucial empathy is
Yes.
for building strong relationships.
Empathy is key.
But are there specific strategies
yeah.
for becoming more empathetic?
Definitely the Power Within episode highlighted the importance of active listening,
Oh, right.
which goes beyond just hearing the words someone is saying.
Right.
It's about being fully present
Okay.
with the speaker,
Mm-hmm.
paying attention to their nonverbal cues,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to step into their shoes
Right.
to understand their experience.
It's about putting aside your own judgments and assumptions
Yes.
and really opening yourself up to another person's perspective.
That's what it's all about.
And a powerful way to practice active listening
Mm-hmm.
is to ask open-ended questions
Yes.
that encourage the other person to explore their feelings.
Great point.
Instead of jumping in with advice or solutions,
Right.
try asking things like,
Yeah.
how did that make you feel?
Exactly.
What was that experience like for you?
Those are great prompts
Yeah.
for creating a safe space for someone to feel truly heard and understood.
I imagine that kind of deep listening can transform relationships.
It really can.
You know, one thing I often struggle with
Mm-hmm.
is handling criticism gracefully.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Any tips
Let me think.
from the Power Within episode
Yeah,
for navigating those tricky situations?
they had a great suggestion for that. Using visualization
Oh,
to mentally rehearse how you want to respond
okay.
in challenging situations.
So like thinking it through in advance?
It's like creating a mental movie of yourself, reacting calmly and confidently,
Oh.
even when you're feeling triggered or defensive.
That's a great technique.
It really helps.
It's almost like giving your brain a dress rehearsal
Yes.
for those high stakes moments.
Preparing yourself.
Yeah, and by practicing that visualization,
Mm-hmm.
you're more likely to respond in a way that aligns
Exactly.
with your emotional intelligence goals.
Well said.
That's so smart. I'm definitely going to try that.
I encourage you to.
What about communication skills in general?
Okay.
Are there strategies for becoming
There are.
a more effective communicator?
The episode emphasized the importance of clarity,
Okay.
both in your words and your intentions,
Right.
before you communicate.
Yeah.
Take a moment to consider what you want to convey
Mm-hmm.
and choose your words carefully.
Okay.
And don't underestimate the power of nonverbal communication.
Right.
Your body language, tone of voice,
Uh-huh.
and facial expressions all send powerful signals.
It's about being mindful
It is.
of the entire message you're sending,
Yeah.
not just the words you're speaking.
Exactly. And don't forget the importance of asking clarifying questions.
Well, right.
It ensures that you're truly understanding the other person's perspective
Okay.
and prevents misunderstandings.
It makes communication a two-way street,
It does.
a collaborative process of sharing and understanding.
Well said.
This is all so helpful.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm realizing that developing emotional intelligence
Yeah.
is an ongoing journey,
It is.
not just a destination you arrive at overnight.
You're so right. It's a continuous process
Yeah.
of learning growth and self-discovery.
And it doesn't have to be overwhelming.
It doesn't.
Start by focusing on one small step at a time.
That's the key. Progress, not perfection.
That's a great reminder.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone.
You don't surround yourself with people who support your growth.
That's so important.
Offer constructive feedback
Yeah.
and inspire you to be your best self.
It's about building a supportive network
It is.
that encourages you to step into your emotional intelligence superpowers.
Well said. And don't forget to celebrate your successes along the way.
Oh, that's huge.
Every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory worth acknowledging.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a whole new understanding
Me too.
of emotional intelligence and its transformative power.
It's amazing stuff.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listener
Okay.
with a challenge,
I like it.
a little something to ponder
Okay.
as you continue on this journey of emotional growth.
What is it?
Well, the Power Within episode made it clear
Yeah.
that emotional intelligence has the potential to dramatically improve
Yeah.
our interactions with others.
It's true.
So here's the challenge.
Okay.
Think of one interaction
All right.
you'd like to improve this week.
Mm-hmm.
It could be with a colleague,
Okay.
a loved one,
Right.
or even a stranger. How might you use your newfound emotional intelligence skills
Yeah.
to make that interaction more positive,
Uh-huh.
productive, or fulfilling?
That's a brilliant challenge.
It's a good one.
It encourages us to move beyond theory
Yeah,
and put these insights into action
exactly.
to create real positive change in our lives.
Every step you take
Mm-hmm.
towards greater emotional intelligence
Yeah.
brings you closer to living
It does.
a more connected, fulfilling,
Yeah.
and meaningful life.
Beautifully said.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive
My pleasure.
into the fascinating world of emotional intelligence.
It's been fun.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights
I hope so too.
that you can carry with you.
Yeah.
Until next time.
See you then.